nothing ever happens to them, that sort of thing. And the message that we want to bring to you is that, in fact, of the charges that we recommend to Crown Counsel, in 90% of the cases, Crown approves, and they approve the charges. So that's a very high rate of charge approval. And then of those 90% of the cases, 64% of them are resulting in conviction. So there are other reasons why cases will fail. There will be stays of proceedings. The victim decides that she doesn't want to proceed further, that sort of thing. But that's actually quite a good success rate. And if we were to bring you information about sentencing, I think that you would be very interested to hear that too, is that the sentences can be quite significant. So we want to bring that to you as a good news story, in that if you do make a complaint, if someone makes a complaint and they follow through with it, they're willing to go through with it, the chances of it being successfully prosecuted are actually quite high. Of those cases where there just isn't enough evidence, then that is a reality that we deal with, that we have to meet a very high standard to get charges through Crown Counsel and through the court.
Is it just this neighborhood, or would this happen in Shaughnessy as well?
No, well,
do you have the same statistics in Shaughnessy?
Well, we'd have to bring those back, but my experience is that it really has nothing to do with what physical location it is, to do with the quality of the evidence. And so, is there a witness? Was there videotape, for example, that happens? Was there medical evidence that supported the allegation? There are many different reasons, but none of them have anything to do with where the person lives, is my point.
I'd like to know the statistics on Shaughnessy before I go into it.
Okay, well, thanks for your point. Okay, Shelley, did you get it? Okay, was there other questions about that? So we'll take a few questions, but trying not to get bogged down on one particular issue, but hopefully there will be time at the end that we can come back and people can ask questions about anything that they want to ask, because we actually have a lot of things that we wanted to talk to you about today. So, lady.
Hello, my name is Louisa Russell, and I'm with Vancouver Rape Relief for Women's Shelter. And I certainly hear your interpretation of the statistics, but I'd like to give you another bent on it. You're saying that what you haven't said is from 626 that actually result in a conviction, and we know that less than 6% even report to the police in the first place, your biggest chance of having your case dismissed or not going anywhere is at the initial police response level, because it drops from 626 to 124. So your biggest chance of having your case dismissed or lost actually happens at the initial police response level, and that's not what's been said. My second point is that you have said a few times now that one of the reasons why the case doesn't go forward is because the individual victim, the woman, doesn't want the case to go forward. I answer the line at Vancouver Rape Relief for Women's Shelter, and women tell me that that is not the case. It's a myth that it's the individual victim that doesn't want the case to go forward. It's the biggest myth in sexual assault cases, that it's the victim recanting, or that it's not the case. And I think the biggest reason why the case doesn't go forward is because there's not enough evidence collected, the medical reports are not gotten or given, and there's a failure in the initial police response, and that's why the case, there's not enough for the charge to be supported.
Okay, well, thanks for that. Many different perspectives. Different people have different experiences. It's hard to say whether the women that you're talking to are the same one that we're saying. I mean, we document these things very carefully. If a woman says, I don't want this to go any further, for example, then we try to be very respectful of that. And there's all kinds of internal quality control around that. There's independent research that looks at our cases and in terms of the quality of the investigation. So, but I appreciate you're in this advocacy role, and you play an important role. And we talk often and with advocates, and we appreciate your perspective on that, and we can always be working side, and I hope that we'll have a chance to talk about some of those stories. Worked very hard to build cases that will meet the threshold to go to court and that will survive a prosecution. And that's why I really like to get to some of the stories of the beat officers who can talk to you about the lengths that they go to support women, particularly marginalized women who really need our support so that cases can be successful. So every perspective is important, and we appreciate yours. Dean.
Yeah, first of all, I just want to say that I think rooms like this are really important because they do build relationships, but I think we get this mixed message. And carrying on with what this lady says, is that the only time that a real investigation happens down here is when the public says, come on, you guys, the girl didn't jump. There's something else happened, and 2 months later we see $10,000 being offered, and it gives a very mixed message. You hand out another great program, you hand out these blankets. What a great idea, build relationships. But the next day, you're front and center while Vancouver Engineering comes down here with their dump trucks and throws some poor schmuck's belongings away who's homeless. And we get this real mixed message, like, are you there to help us, or is it just one hand is here and the other hand's beating us? This is what I think has to be resolved, is this mixed message that we get. I believe that you guys are, I've been down here a long time, as you guys know. I'm in a little different headspace these days. I think you guys are trying to help, but I still believe we're getting a real mixed message, and with violence, the perception is that some of the police officers down here are as big as bullies as some of the other people are. So I'm just saying that, you know, we've really got to deal with this if we really want to make these relationships work, because we know that these relationships that are built in rooms like this do work. Insight's a perfect example. Thank you.
Thank you, Dean. If I could just go back to the comment that, I'm sorry, I missed your first name. Louisa made. I guess what I'm hoping as part of the Sister Watch program and under that umbrella is that people who have special interests or special needs to communicate with the police department, I'm hoping we're breaking down those barriers, and that there will be a time when you, Louisa, and Shelley can sit down, or you can invite her to one of your meetings, and we can discuss this thoroughly as well.
I do appreciate the statistics. Douglas Park has individually sat down with me for hours, and he's right. There has been a lot of communication. I've personally given a list of individual cases where women did not get a charge or their case was closed, and asked for a response. And it's really unfortunate that I didn't get any answers on those. It's really, really unfortunate. It's not that I'm making this up, that I think the numbers speak for themselves. It can't be that women are the problem. We have to accept that there are also problems that are based on attitudes about women and the initial police response that women get. Because let's just remember what the law actually says. In cases of sexual assault, it's not up to the individual victim. If she says the case, I don't want it to proceed, actually in Canadian law it says that the case must proceed, that it's a crime against the state, and
so
it's the response of the officer
offline
to build a case so that it's not all dependent on her.
Yeah, well, we
Right.
really agree with you there.
Okay.
So we try to build cases that don't rely on
Right.
the victim, and it's true that it's a crime against the state, not that individual person, but we also think that it's really important to be respectful of victims' wishes.
Sure.
And other than those cases that are where we're required by policy, like the Pilots Against Women in Relationship policy, is that we try to respect victims' wishes and not force them through a process that they don't want to go to. So
I don't have any women that have that problem.
okay.
Believe me, I don't have them. If I had one, that would be great, but it's not the reality.
I just want to say one more thing, just to that end, and I don't want anybody to leave here with the idea that, that you're not in charge. At the end of the day, if a woman comes forward to make a complaint about sexual assault, you will do a thorough investigation. If the woman decides at some point that she doesn't wish to proceed to court, we do respect that.
Come on, if you did a thorough investigation in every single case, how the hell are you losing 500 cases?
Okay, so thank you.
Okay, sure.
We've got that perspective.